Hey, thanks for joining me once again. Here it is, the month of July 2022. As they say, time flies. Well, today's chart for the month of July shows that the world is in crisis with, in the United States, the courts siding against the people, and Ukraine fighting off the Russians, forcing a famine in Africa, and climate change is begging for some attention. So let's take a look at the month of July. Here's the chart for the month of July. Issues this month originate with June's new moon, whose south node in the ninth house of the Supreme Court shows the court opted for the patriarchy instead of rising above the past. The new moon is 7+ degrees of Cancer, and the negative manifestation of the potential for renewal here is described as an ingenious substitution of affirmation for accomplishment in the Sabian symbols, which accurately describes the cowardice of the U.S. Supreme Court. The end of Roe v. Wade comes as Chiron returns to where it was when Roe v. Wade was first decided, effectively breaching the doctrine of separation of church and state, weakening yet another aspect of the foundation of American democracy. If you know your moon and rising signs, listen to them as well. Aries, use your higher mind. Respond to those who hurt you by taking actions to raise their consciousness of love. Taurus, growth is transformational and is challenging you to improve the way you respond to difficulty and stress. Gemini, might feel like chatterbox heaven at first, but you need to connect on a deeper level, not just a passing idea. Cancer, you need to take control of your life, abandon self-imposed limits on the value of your work. Leo, feeling powerless belies your sense of inner conflict as it affects your relationships. Change your set of values. Virgo, new directions may be needed in your work that brings some wonder about your ability to handle it easily. Libra, confusion around finances might cause emotional discomfort, but remain clear that things will be improving. Scorpio, it's not a question of personal validity. It is more about what you believe about having been hurt in the past. Sagittarius, eliminate as much self-doubt as possible because your personal or business relations are changing. Capricorn, roadblocks are just redirecting you to what you need to know and to the love your heart needs to feel. Aquarius, blocking out the past is hard, but your focus needs to be on the future. Control what needs to change. Pisces, your compassion comes with a sense of boundlessness. Create boundaries and protect your heart. As July begins, the sun and rising are in Cancer, and the moon is in Leo, foretelling a summer of deep discontent, showing the need for people here and around the world to take control of their lives. In the chart for July 2022, the only two bodies below the horizon are the sun and the moon. The Leo moon in the second house means the people are in need of regaining control of the basics of democracy, the second house of resources and values. But of course, following the Supreme Court's decision to end abortion on demand comes the realization that this is a denial of women's fundamental right to control their bodies, and it opens up the floodgates of so many other potential losses of what is essentially consciousness. The progress of the last 50 years, meager as it has been stalled. The sign of Cancer and its ruler, the moon, refers to children as well as family and nurturing. The only other item below the horizon is the south node of the moon in the 5th house, which also has something to do with children. This node invites surrender to fear, and because it is in the Pisces decan of Scorpio, is based on what can only be seen as religious views that empower vindictive laws not unlike those visited upon sinners. But this can also be seen as women needing, that is to say Venus and Gemini, not to lose faith, but instead advocating more forcefully for codifying the right to abortion in congressional legislation. The upper half of this chart begins with the 7th house, Pluto in Capricorn, which by itself underscores just how much of our government's authority has eroded in the minds of many people. Pluto points to the Gemini Mercury, which is the last planet in the upper or objective hemisphere. It emphasizes the fact that there is a dire, or Pluto, need to change the country's relationship to Donald Trump. The position of Mercury is conjunct Trump's Gemini sun and highlights the need to revive our commitment, Mercury, to democracy by being willing to defend it. But that will require promoting a new vision that could bring about a transcendental change in the national mindset, which for many years has taken democracy for granted. Pluto here in this 7th house of war and peace also shows the war in Ukraine smoldering away while the planet burns and starvation in Africa becomes the norm. Pluto here shoves death and destruction in our faces and asks, "Et tu, Brute?"